Right, so we're going back to the car now. So let's see. It's still on so far. Oh yeah, we have to unlock it, of course. Right, so that's 8 minutes so far. So let's leave. Now I've got back into the car. Probably won't do it. I'm not sure. Right, good morning guys, it's the Evie Bloke here, back with another video. Yes, I've had quite a few comments and stuff regarding the V2L system on here. I did a video about 6 months ago now, and it was a bit of a disaster. Go and check that one out back on the channel if you can find it. And but I thought it'd be good to do a revised. Now I've lived with the car a bit, all that kind of stuff. It'd be quite good to do a revised version of that, I think. So here it is. Here's the V2L. So we're going to go and plug it all in a minute and do that. But also I wanted to check out the climate control, because I found out by accident really that when you exit this vehicle, if you've left it on and lock it, it doesn't cut off or anything like that, even though it doesn't have a key. Now, I don't know if that just works on a system similar to the preconditioning, so where you can get up in the morning, set it on the app, and start it. But this is with the key, so it'd be interesting to see, does it have dog mode as example, or some kind of always, or climate always on type of facility on this car, which of course really all cars should have, really. Believe it or not, the brand new, I saw a video a couple of days ago on the brand new Volkswagen Buzz, ID Buzz, in America, that doesn't have dog mode or camp mode or whatever you want to call it for a vehicle like that. So, I mean, these things can get overlooked even by big automakers like that. So, but anyway, and you might think, well, why am I doing all of this here in a, basically just a family type run around car, which is basically what the BYD Atto 3 is really. Well, if you go to some pictures, I might put them up through the course of the video. I've actually seen a tent on the back of one of these, and of course you have vehicle to load, which we're going to look at in a minute. So if you add up vehicle to load, possibly put a tent on the back, we can put a tent on most things really, lay the seats down and camp in it for a night or two, if you really want to. There are going to be times where you're going to need the climate to be on all the time, because like if you're sleeping overnight and it's really hot, you're going to need at least the climate on some kind of low, even if it's a low setting, you're going to need it on. Or again, equally in the winter, same case. But also, of course, if you've got animals, if you've got a dog, if you go into a Tesla, they've actually got an actual dog mode, where it just keeps the climate on until you return to the car, effectively. So with that, locking the car while the car's on, what I want to do is I want to see, does it actually stay on for a period of time? So what I'm going to do is, in the app, I'm going to set it to the shortest amount of time, which is 5 minutes, I think, in there, like if it's preconditioning. And I want to see if it's working off of that logic, or it just will continue to stay on. Now, I know it goes up to a maximum of 35 minutes, so we might have to do a meanwhile back at the ranch type video there for that, and come back to it and see if it stays on or not, and do a kind of countdown, see does it actually stay on or not. If it stays on, then you at least know, okay, it's not an accessory mode. When I had my original Ioniq, that had accessory mode on it, which you could leave climate on all the time, but it used very, very low energy, because it was kind of like a standby kind of mode, but it was just using the climate off the main battery. But I used to see, if I had that on any length of time, there was once I had to stay out quite a long time in that car, and that hardly used anything. But of course, if this is just actually on in park with the doors locked, it'll probably use more power over time, because it's obviously using the full power of the car, as it were, really. But at least if you can do it, then it's a way of at least getting around that issue. Still, cars in 2024 are not fitting dog mode, some kind of camp mode, whatever you want to call it, in their cars, and it's just ridiculous because you've got that facility. You've obviously got the capability of doing it in the fact that there's no tailpipe emissions, so you've got no emissions to worry about, nothing of that, no noise, even really sound, apart from maybe the sound of the aircon going or whatever, and that's about it. Outside of that, there's no reason why it can't. So that'd be interesting to see. Does it have a camp mode, dog mode, or it doesn't have that mode? And so we're going to see. And if it does cut off, then it doesn't have an always-on climate control facility on this car. And if it stays on, well, then we'll obviously be able to answer that question. So that's the two objectives in today's video. Have another look at the V2L, and also does it have dog mode, or can you be used as in dog mode? So let's crack on to it. Right, okay guys, Sean here, the EV bloke, for the second part of this now here. So we have now, this is what they call the vehicle to load, V2L, and it comes a little bit similar to, like your adapter for the slow charger, if you like, So there we are. So it looks like that, and it's got a long lead, which I'll show you in a minute. Sorry, this is all a bit of a kerfuffle like it was last time, really. Look at that, look. Cups don't fit, look. Same old story with this car, look. Look at this. It's crazy. Average size coffee cups don't fit. So, but anyway, we know about that. So I've brought along with me my laptop, I've got my coffee grinder, and I've also got a hairdryer. So I want to see if they all work together. I know if you put high powered items on, it tends to knock them off if you connect in more than one thing, because of course on the other end of this you've got the multi-plugs, which I really don't think, unless it's low powered stuff, I wouldn't really use it in that regard. But anyway, what we're going to do now, we're going to step outside the vehicle. I'm going to show you where this plugs in, which is just in the charging port anyway. So take that off, and you get the vehicle to load, and you plug it in, like so. Now I heard it lock in, so now one thing with this is it's got to be over 20%. Sorry about that. It's got to be over 20%. If it's not over 20%, you can't use it. Okay, so 20% or over to use this facility, and you'll get a picture come up like this, and it will show you that you're actually able to plug stuff in. That sort of luminous green figure of the outside of the car there that you've got. So that's that. So let's try plugging some few things in then and see what happens, I guess. So just bear with me 1 sec while I just get everything set up, because I'm in a bit of a mess here. Right, so first of all, we'll try the coffee grinder. So here's the coffee grinder. Like so. I'm just going to plug it in and see what happens. Okay. There we go, no problem. Now let's see if we can plug in the hairdryer as well at the same time. Whether that's going to overload it, hopefully it won't. So I'm trying to do this one-handed, and I'm a bit all over the place. I don't have anyone to film for me or help me film this, so I'll do that at the moment. So both lit up, and where are we? How does this work? Okay. Oh, I probably got to that way. Slides up that way. Excellent. So they all work together, and then for the computer what we'll do is we'll plug it in from this side and it lights up. So when it lights up we'll see whether that's actually charging whether the lead's actually charging it. Of course they're all lit up. If I remember rightly, one time these didn't light up when it was like too much power. That'll be flashing on there for you, but that's obviously just a steady red light. Where are we? Where's the lead to this now? This is the thing, you get into a right mess with all these leads. Right, where's the end of that? Oh, it's down there. Right, so we should, in theory, be able to see, probably on the other side I expect. Yeah, you can see the red light, or hopefully you can see the red light just there to show that it's actually charging. So those three things are okay. Obviously if you start putting microwaves, kettles, high powered stuff like that, you want to probably try and do them separately if you're going to do them. So what actually is the point of all of this? Well, if you have a power cut, it's handy, of course. That's the first thing there. I guess kind of one of the big advantages to something like this is obviously, as an example, if you're going camping, really, or that kind of a thing, which is going to bring me on to the next test we're going to do in a short while. I'll just give me time to put all this stuff away, and then we're going to do a test on dog mode. What does that mean? Well, basically in a lot of electric cars nowadays you can actually leave the car and leave your climate on, so climate always on basically, or to use a Tesla quote, dog mode, or some kind of camp mode is another one that tends to get used on a lot of vehicles as well. So if you've got a vehicle to load and you've got camp mode, you can virtually basically camp, if you like, in a vehicle like this. Now you might say, why would I want to do that in an Atto 3? Well, if you put a tent on the back of it, which you can get tents that will extend on, you know, open the back and you just put a tent across the back, and you can lay these chairs down and you can actually get away with actually sort of camping this for a night or two, really. But of course a few things would have to happen for that. But of course the vehicle to load is a really good thing, and then combining that with climate always on for hot and cold temperatures. If it's a steaming hot night and you can't have your climate on, then it's just going to be an absolutely horrible experience. But obviously if you can leave your climate on, then that's going to help, and vice versa in the winter if you really want to be camping in the winter. But and of course if you want to leave your dog in the car for a while you go off to do a couple of chores, and he's secure in the car, and you want him to obviously have the nice temperature, then obviously leaving the climate on, that's another way of doing that. So these are quite important things, really, especially with a car that has no tailpipe emissions. So let's see if the BYD Atto 3 does that. So anyway, give me a couple of minutes, clear all this up, and then we'll go through this. And what I'm going to do is we're going to see if we can set it up in there. What I want to do actually is to set up the preconditioning. So in the mornings, before you come out to your car, on the app you can actually put a time limit as for how long you want the car to be on to warm the car. So I want to see if by just leaving the car on, locking it and leaving it, whether it still works under that same system, or it's just going to leave the climate on, because that's what you've told it to do. You haven't gone through the app or anything, you've just got out of the car and left it. So will it actually stay on? Because if it does stay on, then I think that's a slight plus, because it's not in a kind of auxiliary mode or standby mode to do it. It's got to have the vehicle on, which is not absolutely ideal, and will probably use more battery, I guess, over time. But the point is, at the same time, it's a good way of indicating at least you could get by with that in a push. So if you're going on a road trip and somewhere in Wales or somewhere, and you're far from your destination and you just need to camp for a night, could you do it in this car? Let's just give that as an example. Could you actually do it in this car? So if you've got your vehicle to load with you, so you can use your kettle or your microwave or whatever you might have with you to provide a food side of stuff, and a hot drink, something like that, or a cold drink, can you also utilize the vehicle to keep the temperature at the right sort of temperature in conditions overnight, judging by various weather conditions, whether it be cold or whether it be hot? With me? So I'll see you in a couple of minutes, and then we'll go through the process of looking into the car for that. Right, okay guys, so I've got it all set up here. So I've gone into the AC settings, okay, which obviously you could do from the app if you wanted to preheat or pre-cool. So I put it onto the lowest setting of 10 minutes, because the reason I've done that is because if this cuts off after 10 minutes of me exiting the vehicle with it all left on, then I'll know this is just working through the preconditioning process. And so I suppose if you was going into the shops to get a few bits, you could put it on 30 minutes and you could use it with your dog in it, because you could set it to a excuse me, a low temperature if it was a hot day, and just keep the dog cool for that period. But I'm more interested in seeing whether this system works with exiting the vehicle and locking it without having told it anything else other than, well, obviously I'll move the time on there, but obviously you can do it from the app if you wanted to do preconditioning. But this isn't about preheating or preconditioning the car. This is about exiting the vehicle. Does the climate always stay on? So the time now is 15:05. So we'll come back in 10 minutes after exiting this vehicle, and I want to see, is this still continuing to stay on? And then we've probably answered our question that actually the climate stays on. If you exit the car and lock it without the keys in the car, which this car you can do, what will happen? So we're going to do that now. So we're going to come back in 10 minutes and see what the result is. Excellent. Right, so let's exit the vehicle now then. So everything's on, it's in park. Make sure it's in park, of course. And we're going to exit the vehicle now, and then we're going to see what happens when I've locked it and we've walked away from the car. And we come back in 10 minutes. So locking the car now. So we've locked the car. Okay, we've locked the car, sorry. The sign for the key goes away. Quite interesting. So we'll see what happens now as we walk away and leave the car on. Excellent. So we're back at what, about 3:15, I think that is. That'll be 10 minutes, won't it? See you then. Right, so we're going back to the car now. So let's see. It's still on so far. Oh yeah, we have to unlock it, of course. Right, so let's get in. Right, so that's 8 minutes so far. So let's leave. Now I've got back into the car. Probably won't do it, I'm not sure. But it certainly looks like it stays on, which is kind of interesting, really. Yeah, so what I would say is it stays on. It seems to stay on even when locked. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. So maybe you can do this. We'll perhaps do another test where we do it for a longer period, and just see whether it goes on for longer that way. Let's go back to the system there. So let's put it on for 15 minutes, okay, and then we'll come back past the time, because I actually mistimed that slightly. So it's 15:14 now, so Sorry, that's not focusing there very well. So if we come back in 15 minutes time, so 15:15 now, so if I exit it now at 15:30, so if we come back here at about 15:32 or something like that, then we'll see for sure whether this actually works. So just bear with me, and next time you see me, it'll be 15:32ish. Okay, so with the time at, should be 15:32, so that's gone past 15 minutes. It looks like everything is still on. Yeah, 15:32. So that's gone beyond the 15 minutes we set on there. So this is not related to the preconditioning. So it appears as if you can actually have the climate on. That's quite good. I mean, it's pretty cool in here, but you can obviously set it higher. So looks like you can do that. So that's pretty good for the dog in particular, because if you've got an animal or anything and you want to leave it in, that's a thumbs up from me. Of course, the vehicle's just on. Actually, at night, if you're camping, you could just leave it on anyway, couldn't you? Really, just make sure the doors are locked for security, and just leave the car on if you wanted to do it that way. I suppose you could do it that way, and anyone could in an electric car, really. But it's nice to have the modes whereby they stay on for certain lengths of times, or all that kind of thing. So, so what have we learned from this test then? Well, what we've learned actually is that you probably could do a bit of camping, and I think that might be one of my next adventures with this car. Is to maybe do a bit, see how we get on. That could be one thing to do, couldn't it? So, so yeah, we've got that to think about. But anyway, so that's it for this video then, really. So vehicle to load, good, as long as you don't overstress it with too much high-powered things all at once. That works well. And of course, if he was bringing like a microwave along or something like that, kettle and all that, you can use all of those things. So that's no problem. So the vehicle to load works well. And of course, in the case of a power cut, I can park this straight outside my house and power stuff off of it if I wanted to. So it's quite handy, the vehicle to load. I think it's something you're probably not going to use very often, but depends. If you're an outdoor adventurous person, you're probably not going to have a BYD Atto 3, to be fair. But if you do have one and you want to go away for a night or two, looks like you can do it in this car, because the climate stays on with the car locked and you walk away from it. So that's great for animals or for whatever. Not your child. Don't leave your child in the car. And also if you're going camping or going out for a night, and you're going to stay over in some complex or whatever where it's a camping sort of setup, you can attach your tent at the back. I'm going to see if I can maybe get a tent that goes particularly with this vehicle. I have to look into that, so I don't really know if I can actually do that. But I'm going to try and see what happens with that. If you can, then what I might do is just do an experiment with it, really. Do a camp out one night to see how it all works out. That could be some kind of an interesting video. So anyway, that's it for this one, guys. I'm about 30 subscribers away from getting to 500. Now, 500 subscribers is quite important because it means I can start doing the live streaming and all of this kind of thing, and people can become channel members and that if they want, and stuff like that. So it's quite a lot of advantages to getting 500 subscribers. I've got more than enough watch hours, and I do thank you guys very much. Even if you just come in and watch one video, never subscribed and gone away again, whatever it might be. I mean, my watch hours, the amount of videos I've got is really, really good on this. I mean, I've got a lot of my most successful videos up to around about 12,000 now, and I mean I've only got 470 odd subscribers. So that's pretty good. So it means people are tuning in and are interested in this car. But as I say, it's quite limited as to what you can do. My next kind of move that I want to move along to is possibly doing other cars and maybe a few more wackier things that I'm going to start doing with the car, and that kind of thing, really. So a few more challenges and stuff like that. If you've got a challenge you want to set me for this car, by all means, drop it in the comments down below. Let me know, give me some feedback on this video. Let me know what you think about how all this works here with the vehicle to load and the sort of dog mode, because we can affirm it does have a dog mode of sorts. You just leave the car on, lock it. How that quite works with no key, because they're pretty key focused, aren't they, these cars, you know. But anyway, you can walk away from the car, do what you've got to do, come back, and it leaves climate on. So we've done the test on it there, so no problem. Whether or not it cuts off after an hour or something or whatever, I don't know, but it looks like you can actually do it. So it is possible to use this car camping, which is good. And so yeah, brilliant. So yeah, like and subscribe. Please share it with your friends. If you know anyone who's getting one of these cars, obviously attach them to my channel, because I've got quite a library building up now of different aspects of this car now. I'm not a motoring journalist, as you guys know, but what I am is an enthusiastic EV driver and have a reasonable amount of love for this car. Like I say, it's day-to-day stuff, more than okay with it. And looking at it now, I've got a little bit more inclination to maybe go and do something a bit further out, because you've got the vehicle to load. So you've got power. If you go to somewhere a bit isolated, you know, you've got that facility there you can use, you know. So if you take your microwave along or whatever, you can actually, you know, do yourself a little meal or whatever, you know, and that kind of thing. So looks like it could be quite good in that regard. So well done, BYD. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. I'm rabbiting now, so see you soon.